Hi, I'm Alemi from Yeyeo Botanica. Welcome back. So great to see you all. Thank you for sharing us and coming back. And if this is your first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are www.yeyeo, and we're a spiritual and wellness supplier, which is why I do videos about all things spiritual. And I'm Alemi. I want to shout out pew, 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 all my people from Alabama. Woohoo! Great to see you. Thanks for supporting. So, have you ever wondered what are some of the best things to give to the ancestors because they're not all vegetarians? Well, we're going to get into that today. So let's get started. So all people who are in honor of ancestors, they raise them up in some way, praise them, pray for them, maybe go to visit where they're buried. If you have an ancestral altar space in your home, this message is for you. This video is totally for you. If you're considering doing any of these things, this video is for you too. So one of the things I notice is in doing a lot of ancestral work, contacting ancestors, helping to make peace, bridge the gap, end different kinds of ancestral issues, including ancestral curses. If you haven't seen any of my videos, definitely watch those. Is that people oftentimes become so focused on what they do that they're not in the awareness that their ancestors are not them. They don't live life the same way that they do today, and that they need to be more inclusive and more conscientious about what their ancestors do want. I'm going to give you guys a little story about my life. So I've been a vegetarian, I've been a vegan, pescatarian, eating seafood, all these different things, but not eating meat or anything in my house. We say anything with a face for easily 30 years, right? So, or most of my life. So at one point when I was a strict vegan, I was not putting down anything but vegetables, salads, all these different things that did not include meat. So I got a serious memo from my ancestors when they said, we need some pork chops, some beef, we need some meat, because we're not vegetarian like you. See, I told you sooner or later they're going to hit that bell. So one of the questions that I have, if you haven't seen my ancestor altar mistakes or must-haves, please watch those videos because they really kind of peel the onion on giving you more information. But this video, I decided to make a few of these just to kind of give you the ancestor altar and ancestor treatment in different ways. And so this idea that they're not wanting to eat only salad and vegetables all the time was so real. So when they told me that, I said, bet. So now I make them all things that they eat, all kinds of foods. Even when I do a big festival for them, I put down all these different foods. So one of the things that I want you to keep in mind, because this is a question that has come up in videos, and we're going to start going through more questions again. It's been a while since I started going through some of your questions, so we're going to go back to that a little bit, is how long do you leave food at the altar? You only leave food at the altar either one overnight or as long as you would eat it. If you would not eat it after a day or two, then you're not going to leave it there at the altar longer than a day or two. Food offerings can be left in the garbage, including what we're going to talk about today. So that was just a little tidbit. Keep that in mind. And it also applies to meats, right? So 3 things that I want to cover, and we're going to break them down. Meats, seafood, and other kinds of meats. So the ancestors eat what they ate when they were alive. So if your people are from the South, you need to be giving them Southern foods. If they ate chitlins and you don't eat chitlins, once in a while, go buy it in a restaurant. You don't necessarily have to cook it, right? If they ate pork chops, you need to give them pork chops sometimes, right? Or if they ate, in Spanish, they say pernil, which is like the pork shoulder, I believe, or anything like that. Some people from the Caribbean, their ancestors may have ate oxtails or pigtails or pig feet. From wherever you are, you need to keep in mind some of the things that you assume that your people ate. So you're not going to break it down so it's just one for one person, right? If you make a dish and you know, oh, okay, well, Auntie liked macaroni and cheese, and this person liked mashed potatoes, and this person, you can put them down on different days, right? So I'm giving you a little bit more than just the meats, but they all kind of go together. So it's important to put that kind of food down once in a while, because this is how they get life force, right? They get force and energy from the food. So if you're a person that you come from an indigenous family, as an example, your people are Native American, they're native to somewhere, South and Central America, the Caribbean, there could be Caribbean Indian, and so on. We're using the word indigenous to kind of cover all of these different areas of where people could live. Then you need to think about, what kinds of meats did they eat? Well, in the United States and in the Caribbean, I know that many indigenous people ate rabbit. My cousins used to hunt rabbit when I was growing up. There's deer meat. There's now bison or buffalo meat has become popular, right? There's pheasant, which is game birds, and things like that. These are things that you can put down once in a while, especially if you have a lineage of people who are indigenous. If you're unsure, then just put down regular foods that you would eat today, inclusive of meat. Meat is one of the main things that ancestors like to eat, all right? So you're not just going to put down a plate of meat. They're not doing keto, right? So you're going to give them maybe some meat, maybe some rice or some potatoes or something else to go with it, where it's like a meal. And you can also eat some of this meal yourself. Seafood. It's good to put down seafood for them once in a while as well, because some of our ancestors, they could have been, for the meat section, they could have been farmers. They could have been hunters. They could have grown their own animals that they may have sold, right? So seafood falls in the same category. They may have been fishermen. They may have just eaten seafood. So once in a while, especially in the Northeast, Caribbean, and Central and South America, red snapper is really the official fish to use for ancestors. Tidbit, and Orisha is one of my sweet things to give to some of the Orishas, being red snapper. But there are other fish, grouper and so on, that are indigenous of the Caribbean, North American waters, and so on. I say use a fish that is very indigenous to the area or local to the area where you come from or where your family is from. Giving these things will strengthen your connection with the ancestors, will pull them forward, because they're going to see you giving them things that is reminiscent of when they were alive. So I hope this was helpful. You got something out of this video, and it definitely opened up your mind. So see you next time. I want to see your comments below of some of the great things that you give your ancestors, and some more topics we could maybe talk about in some of these videos. And see you next time. Ashe, ashe, ashe.